Hello YouTube, this is Tattooed Alex coming at you on a beautiful Friday, October the 13th. So I don't shoot in front of the camera very often, but I had a couple of things I wanted to talk about with some changes with my channel. So if you guys follow my motovlogs, you guys know that I have been test riding the 2018 Harley Davidson motorcycles about the last 6 weeks. I put up a couple of motovlogs. I went out on the 2018 Street Bob and the 2018 Fat Bob, and that is the 107 that I test rode. And then about a month ago, my local Harley dealer here, I went out and test rode a 2018 Softail Slim. Unfortunately, I don't have that motovlog. I must have haphazardly put in my memory card into my camera and it didn't register, and so unfortunately I do not have a motovlog for that, which I was really disappointed because it was really a fun bike to ride. Really had a great time on it. The only downside of that ride is that it was really overcast that day. It was about 40% chance of rain, and so it was really overcast, and we only spent about 15 minutes on the motorcycle. So that was a little bit disappointing. And really hard to tell. I mean, it was great, but we only went at the most 40 miles per hour. So, you know, when we got back, I also wanted to test ride the Breakout and the Low Rider for the 2018 models. They didn't have those. They did have a Street Bob, and then they had the 114 Fat Bob, but you know, as short as the ride was and the overcast, I just didn't want to take a chance, and I didn't feel like an additional 15-minute short ride would really provide any more feedback that I could do, so I decided to pass. But while my brother and I were at the dealer that day, we took a walk around the dealer, looked at all the, you know, some of the 2018 models and some of the 2017 models, and then we made our way over to the used models, and one motorcycle in particular really caught our eye. My brother and I both went over there and drooling over this bike. I mean, this thing was gorgeous, and we both said, you know, someday when we're ready to upgrade, this is the kind of motorcycle we're looking for. And it was a 2013 model, so it's 4 years old. And then, but it had Vance & Hines pipes, Harley Davidson saddlebags, gorgeous paint job on it. So really just beautiful bike. Well, over about the next couple weeks, I had to go back. I had to take my 48 in to get service for the 5,000 mile service, and then about a week and a half later, we took my brother's bike in for an oil change as well. So I kept stopping by, checking the bike out, and then I went online to check it out because I wanted to show my wife to see what I was talking about and give her an idea of what I was looking at, and she thought it was a great bike as well. And over about a 2-week period that I'd been checking out the motorcycle, the price started to drop. Originally, it was about at the high end of where I didn't want to spend anymore, and after about 2 weeks, it was getting pretty close to about where right where I wanted to be to buy a motorcycle. And you know, I had contemplated buying new and thought, you know, I love the Fat Bob, but the problem with that is, to me, it's a little too new school, and I want more old school. And you know, I talked about the 2018 Street Bob, although it was a great bike. I wasn't real happy with the tank size on that, so I was pretty much set on looking at a used model. And you know, I'd also been talking about switching out the tank in my 48, and I'd already, you know, had some solid pricing on that. And you know, the concern I had on that is, you know, the tank would have been about $1,000 to $1,100. I would have had to replace the cables as well. Well, if I would have got the handlebars I wanted, I would have had to replace the cables. If I would have gone with the drag bar, I could have kept the cables. But even with the drag bar, you're still looking at, you know, with the grips, drag bar, about $250. I just didn't know if I wanted to drop that kind of money in that, because essentially I still had a 1200 motorcycle, something that's a lot of fun and a great motorcycle, but really not really meant for long distance highway riding type of situation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to compare it to like a bagger. You know, that's just not me. I don't like baggers, but I definitely wanted something bigger and something that's, you know, for longer trips. With my brother having a motorcycle now and a couple other buddies, we're talking about some trips this summer. I just wanted to look at something else to kind of get me to the next level. And so you know, I'd been talking to my wife about that motorcycle, and you know, wondering what they'd give me. I checked the payoff on my 48, and I mean, my wife said, hey, why not go down and see what you got to lose? So a week and a half ago on Wednesday, I went down there, talked to the dealer. First thing I did is I told him I was interested in that bike. I said I wanted to take it for take it for a ride, see what it was like. And I could almost see the gears in him turning, saying, okay, you're riding a 48, that's a lot bigger bike. And I said, hey, look, I've been riding for 17 years. This is the 48, it's my 4th motorcycle. I ride my brother's electric glide. Matter of fact, a month ago, I went out and test rode the Street Bob, the Fat Bob, and the Softail Slim, so, no issue. He said, okay, so he was a little concerned about the bigger bike. So he went ahead and grabbed a copy of my license and put a temporary tag on the bike, and we took it out, and it was a great test ride. I mean, we didn't go on the highway, but he essentially took me highway speeds on some of these back roads. I mean, I got a really good solid chance to know what the bike felt like, especially going at those highway speeds compared to my 48. So we got back. I was pretty happy with it. Said, hey, all right, I was willing to talk and see. And initially he said, hey, we're only giving this much on the 48s. I've already got a couple here. Obviously, they lowball the heck out of it. You have to take the emotional side out of it and say, hey, yeah, if you're willing to make a deal here, yeah, that's fine. And he asked me point blank, you willing to take the bike home tonight? I said, absolutely, absolutely. If we can get to the number I need to be, and obviously they've got to be at a number they need to be, we can work things out, absolutely. And so, at one point they came back, it was like 50 bucks more I wanted to spend. I said, no, I told my wife, this is the amount I'm going to spend, and the final outcome got me 12 bucks more than what I was paying on my 48 every month. So I was really, really happy with that. So one thing I was kind of disappointed about was that I didn't wear my motovlog that night. When I bought my 48, I called my insurance agent, and it was already like 5:36 at night. He already gone home, and so he didn't send over the binding agreement until the next day. Well, this sales guy said, hey, don't even mess with that. Just call the 800 number, and they got the binding agreement sent. And so I pretty much took the bike home that night. So the big change to my channel is I no longer it's no longer a 48 motovlog, and you guys are probably wondering what bike I traded to, and I can tell you this: it's a motorcycle that really wasn't on my radar for a long time. My brother actually liked the bike more than I did, although like this is, I mean, I don't know, it's just something about this bike that really drew me to it. So you guys know you can pretty much, it was one of the motorcycles that I test rode. So there you go, I test rode a Street Bob, a Fat Bob, and a Softail Slim. Well, I said it wasn't really on my radar, so you guys know right away it wasn't a Street Bob, because I talked about that one fairly extensively, that I was really considering it. So let's go ahead and flip the camera around and show you guys exactly what I upgraded to.
Hello YouTube, so this is what I upgraded to. It is a 2013 Softail Slim. Not sure if the camera is gonna do it justice. I'm actually shooting with an iPhone 7 Plus, but hopefully you guys can see that that metal flake and the way the sun just pops when that hits it. It's actually the part of my helmet here that I took off, but yeah, hopefully you guys can see that metal flake. Just a gorgeous paint job. It's got these Harley Davidson saddlebags on it. Take you to the front here, the other side, Vance & Hines exhaust. I mean, she is just a beast, just beautiful. And here's the part that surprised me. It only had just over 6,400 miles. I was just shocked. I couldn't believe that 4-year-old motorcycle, 6,400. My bike was a year and a half and had just under 5,100 miles. So this motorcycle has about 1,300 more miles than my bike. I mean, for me, that's pretty much could be 2 months worth of riding. So I was shocked to see how low it was. But yeah, it is. I mean, just gorgeous. They did a relocation on the brake light there because they with the bags on there, they had to move the turn signals. So it's a they've got like some kind of Roland Sands license plate cover, and they've actually got the directionals. Hard to see in there, but you guys can see them in the fender. They've got the turn signals in there. So, but yeah, this is definitely my opinion of I mean, just a gorgeous bike. It weighs 700 pounds, which is about 150 pounds heavier than the 48, and this is a 103, which equates to, I believe, 1699 cc's, and my 48 was a 1200. Definitely this is the biggest engine size motorcycle I've ever ridden. My old Honda VTX Cruiser was a 1300. So engine wise, this bike is considerably bigger. So, you know, but weight wise, it's 700 pounds, but it's not bad at all. I'm a little over 5'8". It's really comfortable. I believe the Softails has some of the lowest seating on any of the Harley Davidson motorcycles. So, I mean, I could stand up. I've got a couple inches there. I really love the front facing controls. I really love the footboards. And I talked about footboards before. I was not a fan of footboards when I started riding my brother's Electric Glide, but definitely got me used to it, and I love them on this bike. I put actually close to 200 miles on it so far in a week and a half. Last week, the sales guy that I purchased the motorcycle from, he runs one of the local Hawk chapters, so they were doing a ride down to Colorado Springs to Garden of the Gods, and so I went heading down there. And it's something I definitely wouldn't have done on my 48, so that's one of the advantages, is being able to do some of these rides with the local Harley chapters. Now, there were 21 motorcycles, and I'll say most of them were all your bigger baggers, but there were about 5 of us that were on Softails, and, you know, I don't remember what else. Softails, I know one guy was on a Street Bob, so... But definitely real easy to keep up. You know, I had an awesome time. I've talked about, you know, I'm not a fan of windshields, although one of the guys I was talking to showed me that I guess it's set up for windshield on there, and asked me about it. I'm like, I'm not much for windshields. It's got the spoke wheels on it. But yeah, just a gorgeous bike. Really happy with it. I was shocked at the mileage on it, and just love the color. I've never seen a color like this. I still am not sure if it was, you know, just a special model that Harley put out, or let me get on the other side where the sun's starting to go down a little bit. See if that's a good angle to really pick up that sun on there. So how nice that sparkle is. So, alright guys, well, the only thing disappointing is I didn't have shoot a closing motovlog on the 48, but I'll be doing that in my next video. So if you guys like the video, give me a like and subscribe. Tattooed Alex, thanks for watching.